my favorite people. I'm like looking at my microphone. Got the special Rode mic here. I am talking to Jeff MEYER with Alpha Flow Athletics. He is a mental coach, mental like strength training coach who helps thousands of elite athletes, and not even just athletes. I mean, CEOs, and who else has trained from you? Moms, obviously. Yes, that is why we're here. He is kind of the backbone behind Gritty Mamas.
I've worked with like heart surgeons. I've worked with nurses. I've worked with
Holy cow.
government agencies. So
Wow.
that all around.
Yeah, so it's mental coaching because all of us need that. You know, we focus on the physical grit, the relational grit, and spiritual grit, and then mental grit is like as long as your mind is right and you've got that like going for you, I feel like all the other ones fall into place. So tell them what it is that you do, Jeff. Like, what is your job? What do you help people to do?
So I think, and we're definitely going to talk about it, coming, over the however long we decide to do this. But I think one of the things that is so important for an athlete is we talk about flow state, and that's when you perform your best and you feel your best, simply put. And everybody can get into flow. A gardener, a bricklayer, a doctor, you and I, we can all get it. It doesn't have to be strictly athletics. Now, they started studying athletes because especially, like skiers and, where there's life-threatening,
Yeah.
you tend to focus more and you drop into that state faster.
Yeah.
And so now there's enough science behind it now that it says, okay, now we can maybe train these. There's a cycle, 4 phases, and then there's also, you get to a point where there's triggers, these little triggers on how you get into flow state. And so that's kind of what I do. I think the most important thing is athletes never think of their mind when they work out. It's always about their body. Always, how do I develop skill? And the thing that they don't really get is your skill is here. Your skill isn't your muscles. I always tell a story with, athletes. It's like, well, if I pulled your brain out, what kind of athlete will you be?
Yeah.
You got limp body part. That's
Yeah.
You're not any good. So everything is here, but we always think we gotta
Right.
train. And so,
well, how does one become a mental coach? Like, what kind of training do you have to? What makes you so confident? You know what I mean? In the fact that you can train somebody mentally when you are having a bad day. You know what I mean? Or are they allowed to have? No, of course they're allowed. But like, is that an excuse anymore? Is athletes having a bad day, or can you control that?
Well, it's a lot up to you. With the way I reach this. So I've told you my little story. I'll make it real short. But when I was in high school, we were playing our crosstown rival in basketball, and I got fouled with 4 seconds left on the clock, and I could shoot the ball. So I was like really confident. It's like, give me the ball. I'm ready to tie this game. We were down by 2 points. My first shot, nothing but the bottom of the net. The opposing coach calls a timeout. We walk back to our bench. And my coach says, okay, when Jeff makes this next shot, this is what we're going to do. And then he said the dreaded, if Jeff misses this, this is what we're going to do. The only word I heard was miss out of the whole conversation. That's all I could focus on was miss. And then in kind of sports psychology, we call this ants, automatic negative thoughts. And these automatic negative thoughts pop up at the worst possible time. And so when I was walking in another book that I'm writing, it's called, the chapter is called 38 Steps. And that was the steps it took me. I actually went back to my high school from the bench to the foul line. And in those 38 steps, my brain went nuts. It's like I looked up in the sands and there's a really cute girl that I was trying to impress. And I'm like, oh, if I choke in front of her, it's going to be so embarrassing. That, think about your teammates and my mom and dad were there. And it was at their gym, the Crosstown Rival. It was packed, sold out. So all these people, and I can hear people like, you suck, you're too short, choke, it was all that. It was all that kind of stuff. And so by the time I got up to the line, I had I had so much negative thoughts, those ants, that you can actually think yourself and to be nervous.
Mm.
And so I remember it was so crazy. I remember bringing the ball up and my hand was like this. And I let go of luckily it hit the front of it didn't go in. I missed, but it could have been an air ball, which would have been worse.
Yeah.
I kind of hit the rim. But from that point, Julie, that's over the next 40 years, it was that point. I'm like, I was a great shooter, and it didn't matter how great I was if I couldn't control this and my emotions.
Mm.
Nobody had ever taught me how to do that, ever.
So if you were training someone like you in that very moment, what would you have told them to do?
Well, first of all, I would go back and talk to the coach and say, don't say that word.
Mm.
If I had to make a game plan on a negative thing, I would maybe pull a player away so I could tell the rest of the team and not him.
Interesting.
His mind, great. But what I give athletes and parents and whoever tools to deal with that stuff. First of all, I didn't recognize that I was doing it until it was way too late.
Yeah.
Until I was shaken. And I remember my jersey. My heart was like, boom, 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 boom. I could see it on my jersey.
Oh my gosh.
It was just like, it was nuts.
The
It's like
terror.
it was like I was possessed, it's like I was possessed. Somebody took over my body, which was just crazy. But now that I've learned so much, and then just so my background, I got my bachelor's degrees in social psychological kinesiology. So I studied the psychology and then the social psychology of sports, things like, and then kinesiology, which, your muscles, body movement, stuff like that. And then I got my master's in pedagogy, which is teaching with an emphasis on sports psychology. They didn't have the master's program at the time because it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm like, I've never even heard of pedagogy. I would have said pedagogy. So you would have talked to the coach, and then what? What would you have told the athlete?
So I would build plans for certain situations to help. First of all, you have to notice. You've got to notice. And I tell a little story that, you know what the Royal Guard is, right?
Yeah.
Those dudes, right?
Yeah.
I actually have, I spoke at a big conference. I actually have those big beaver caps.
Really?
Yeah, I bought them so I could put them on kids so that they could see what it looks like.
Yeah.
They're and it's funny because they just think they're dudes that just stand there. They're not. They're highly trained. They're like Navy SEALs kind of. They're highly trained people. And their job is to let the right people in and keep all the bad people out. And we have to think of our brain like that. We can't let trash in, because you let trash in, guess what happens? Trash out. So I think the first thing that I could teach any athlete that would help in any person is, what are you thinking? Most people, we don't even know. We just go along with it. We think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and the science behind it kind of says like 77% of it's negative, self-defeating, and doesn't do us any good.
Jeez.
And if you're a perfectionist, if you're an athlete where you're taught to always look at the negative to try to get better, I mean, that's through the roof.
Yeah.
And so I remember my dad telling me, he was a coach, and my dad told me when he goes, Jeff, if you knew the power of your thoughts, you would never think a negative thought again.
Jeez.
So being aware of what we think. So I'll have athletes do a thought audit. And like when they're in class, if they walk through a door, that's a trigger for them. It's like, okay, what am I thinking? You have to first learn what you're thinking. You can't just, we just go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, because we don't even know we're doing it. How do you, if you're taking these 38 steps and you have 2 minutes to be able to find flow as fast as possible, how do you tune out all the garbage coming in?
Yeah. So first of all, if I could go back, okay, I'll dissect this. So that if I could go back and say what I know now, first of all, I would be aware of my thoughts. Very first thing. And I could have easily dealt with that, the coach said missed.
Yeah.
See, I just grabbed onto that word and that's all I thought about.
Yeah.
Now, being aware of it, and now I say, okay, that's not serving me, that word. And then I have athletes or parents or, whoever, I have them build power phrases. So I told you that lady, her name's Sandy, that I'm working with. She's a two-time she's the champion of American Ninja Warrior.
Jeez.
She's the first mom that's won it. She's a national judo champion. She played basketball at Gonzaga. She is a very elite athlete. I mean, it's crazy. And I taught her this one thing, and she said, I can't believe how this has changed the way I perform. Just this one thing, to have a power phrase. And her power phrase is, Sandy, you were made for this.
I like that.
When she stands up, right, getting ready to race, she's feeding her. We never think about feeding our brain. It's like you feed it with trash or you feed it with good stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So why would we feed it with trash? And she goes, it's amazing to me now that I know more about this, how much trash I was throwing at my brain.
I mean, and that's like not even including the thoughts we think, but the music you listen to, the movies that you watch, the books that you're reading, the amount of swearing that you might be like, surrounded by. So that's
it's all recording.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be paying attention to it. It's always recording. It's always on. And it's like, what are we going to let in?
So what would have been your power phrase during those 38 steps?
I'm a stud. I have to.
I'm a stud.
I'm a stud. I don't know. But it wouldn't have been, oh, there's that cute girl, I'm going to choke.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that.
What happened when you missed?
What's that?
What happened when you missed?
Oh, everybody, because we were at the opposing gym.
So they went crazy.
Nuts. It was the worst. I went home and I was so mad. I jumped up, they have, in kind of older homes, they had the ceiling tiles that were like, they weren't very durable or hard.
Yeah.
I got so mad, I jumped up and I punched a hole through the ceiling. Oh my gosh. It was, that's the way 17-year-old boys deal with stuff.
Yes. You had to get the garbage out.
So, yeah, right, yeah. But if I would have known, first of all, if I would have known that I was thinking that way, then I could have stopped it, right? I just reset. It's like, okay, that's not true. I'm the phenomenal foul shooter.
Yeah.
It's like, this is, if there was any, I would much rather be at the line than anywhere else. My coach told me how I was not a great defender, and he told me that all the time.
Yeah.
But maybe the way that he talked to me about defense, that's what I proved to be.
Right.
But he knew I could shoot, and so that's why I played, is because I could shoot. But I look at it and I just think, okay, now let's figure out, for moms, just think of your thought process throughout the day. And Julie, I know with you, how long have we worked together now?
Yeah, several months, maybe 9 months. Less.
Way more than that, I think.
Is it? Has it been a year?
When did I come out for your book signing, your book deal?
Oh gosh. Yeah. It's been holy cow. Yeah, that was last May, the May of 2023.
Yeah, so and that's where we kind of first, And so, but I think, and it's like, look what you feed your brain every day.
Yeah.
Most people, they don't understand that the thoughts we think releases chemicals that make us feel that way. So I actually thought myself nervous.
Yeah.
It was, I had no idea that I was doing it, but what if you if you wake up and say, man, this day's going to suck, and I can imagine, Julie, you're fighting this all the time. You
Yeah.
have to fight it
Yeah.
because of what you have to do every day.
Yeah.
That can be, there's not a lot of women that would do what you're doing.
Yeah. It's exhausting for sure. And it does. It takes me like I have to almost really think about what kind of day that I want to have. Because if I just let the day run its course, then it's like you're having, like you said, you're exercising your brain muscles. And we don't think we have to do that because the brain just works like your heart, but you have to exercise your heart to be healthy. But when you don't, your heart's working just the same, but you don't see the inner rotting, or you don't see the inner blood flow declining or whatever, because we can't see it. It was like when Xander had his appendix out, he was throwing up so much and so violently, that after the surgery, he was in so much pain, like right here, that I thought it was all the bubbles from, filling his stomach full of air for the surgery. Well, really what it was his esophagitis. His esophagus, like the lining of everything right here was like shredded from so much puke. Yeah, and the acid, and it was just over and over and over again, and violent, and then there's nothing left to barf, but he's puking up bile or whatever, the acid, stomach acid. So this inside was shredded, but you can't see it, so you can't see the decline of your brain, and you can't see the decline of your arteries and all those things. And we just think that they're just going to work because they always have. You don't have to exercise something that we can't, see, but you can see physically your biceps growing and your pec muscles growing and your delts. We don't, out of sight, out of mind, kind of.
I always thought it's like, it's exactly what you say. I always thought if a guy knew how important his brain was when he was, because men at the club,
yeah,
they're flexing all the time. It's like, I wonder if you could walk by and flex your brain.
Yeah, seriously, like that muscle.
Yeah, we get more love for what I
do. Yeah. So does the brain? It's not that it actually gets bigger, but are we somehow unlocking like empty chambers of it? You know what I mean? Are you able to unlock more of your brain's capacity?
Yeah, I mean, it's called neuroplasticity, which just means you're able to develop more matter, and so there's stuff in our brain that's called myelin.
Yeah, the myelin sheath.
Yeah, so that's and then in your brain, it's wrapped around neuron, and they're finding out that really talented athletes have more myelin than just the average Joe. And they're thinking that that's like, say, your iPhone cord, the plastic of your charge cable.
Yeah.
That myelin is like that plastic, which fires, to the muscles faster. And they say it could be from like 60 miles an hour to 200 miles an hour. That's so the elite athletes, they fire fast.
Interesting.
And so building that myelin, so we always think of food as what's good for our body, but it's like, more importantly, what's good for your brain.
Yeah.
All the athletes I have, it's like, we should be eating avocado every day. That's really great fat for our brain. Blueberries.
Yeah. That's why, when we're pregnant and we're going to all these OBGYN appointments, they're telling us to take the DHA supplement, which is for your brain health. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can't really comprehend that. What is brain health? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that's...
Oh, here, I'll show you.
Okay.
So I worked with the guy, I haven't worked with him personally, but he taught me, and he has a program that I went through to get certified.
Yeah.
But I'll show you what brain health looks like. This is, you're going to be crazy. I posted something a while back on my Instagram, but we don't ever think of brain health.
No, we don't.
And let me tell you, Julie, when you get a little older like me, I'm not quite, I don't have a foot on a banana peel and one in the casket, but I'm getting to where it's a little, I have way more and less days than I've already lived.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I want to show you what because it's crazy. So this is called a SPECT scan. And we don't, so here it is right here. So this is what, now that this is really about blood flow, this is what a healthy brain looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not really the color, it's, you see all the, kind of
Wrinkles. Looks like the top of a tooth.
yeah, kind of. And then this is what a 12-year NFL player's brain looks like.
Jeez. Is it like cavities and
Oh, it's not, it's the blood flow is not getting to certain areas, so it's not communicating. And so
holy
you
cow.
look at NFL players, when they retire, they struggle a lot with brain health issues.
Oh my gosh. Which what affects whatever part of the brain doesn't have as much blood flow?
Yeah, so it just depends on Dr. Amen did the biggest study in the NFL and found that, it is not a great sport for your brain.
Holy cow.
But we
Well,
never think about the health of our brain.
no, and that's probably why football players have had so many concussions and then like beat up their wives while they're sleeping and they don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah, and you look at suicide for NFL players, it's pretty. Matter of fact, what's his name? He played for San Diego. He left a note that said he shot himself in the heart, and he left a note that said, "Study my brain."
Oh my gosh. And did they?
So I would imagine somebody's
How long ago was that?
probably 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that.
Jeez. So, in terms of mothers, we need the fast firing neurons and synapses because we are thinking at a moment's notice trying to pick up a kid from there, but oh, I've got this other kid at home that's sick and I have to go pick up dinner or make dinner and finish the laundry up. I mean, it's constant firing, it's constant overload, which also, puts stress on the nervous system, which helps you grow, but then you get to overwhelm. And I think that's one of the things we're going to be talking about a lot on here is how mothers specifically can handle all of life's throws at them, all of the overwhelm, the burden of motherhood, of thinking about birthday invites and Christmas presents and the arguing family members and the dog and going to the vet and getting the well check for the kids and getting the PTA involvement. Like it's never ending. And so if we can learn the mental strategies that you teach these elite athletes, like who's to say we can't be firing and in our own flow state of motherhood? You think it's possible?
Oh, no, it's totally possible. There's a book, Csikszentmihalyi is kind of the godfather of flow, and he interviewed, I think it was over 30,000 people. No, don't quote me. I think that's what it was. But a huge, huge study over many years. He was a professor at University of Chicago, and he wrote a book called Flow. And he said anybody can get into flow. It doesn't matter. It's like if you're a bricklayer, if you're a doctor, if you're a mom, if you're an athlete, if you're a scientist, with what my wife does, it's like she goes, man, that day went by just like that.
Yeah.
She's so focused in what she's doing.
Right.
And that's one of the signs of flow is time dilation. It kind of slows down or speeds up.
Interesting.
On the situation.
Yeah. So if someone was to ask you to explain to me in 30 seconds, how do you get into flow state? What would you say?
I have a manual about that big that teaches you how to do it.
So it's like over time.
One of the things that's really important is I think we have to develop a different relationship with struggle, because flow goes in its phases. It's not an on and off switch.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first phase is struggle, and what it's really doing to your brain is it's narrowing its focus. When you're struggling, you're focusing on something, and that's where we're going to talk about a little bit. With my book, I did such deep dives into phone use, and man, it's not good.
Yeah.
For 10 years, this book right here is a phenomenal book.
Anxious Gen. Like, that's me right on the front cover.
And then, and then this is a pretty good book too, but I'm just...
If you're just listening, it was The Anxious Generation, and what's the other one? Victory Begins? Victory Begins in the Mind. Oh, that's by you?
That's my book. So, yeah, that was me.
Oh my gosh. And that's available on Amazon?
Yeah. But The Anxious Generation, it's fun. I never thought of it. It's from 2010. He actually puts kids into two groups, and he calls them the play-based childhood. And then 2010 hits, and he calls it the phone-based childhood. And I love the way he tells this story. He goes, it's as if we had somebody come to us and say, hey, we want to take your kid to Mars, and we want him to be there for years.
Yeah.
And he equates that to cell phone use. It's like we would never let our kids go to Mars with no information, no nothing, but we let them take over their phone, and we have no idea what it's going to be, what they're going to be like in 10 years from now.
Right. I know. It's scary. And they know how to handle the phone so much better. I mean, Adana was on her phone, or she was on her Chromebook at school, and these kids are so smart that they can get past the filters and the blockages and the pop-ups and all the things, the windows that are blocked. And she was seeing, porn on YouTube, unedited, uncensored. She had more access at school than she does at home. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is just great.
And that's the thing. It's like, how are we? I think the most important thing, and I really, I really want to work through this to help people, because a neuroscientist said that if a sixth grader uses his phone right now the same way he's using it right now, by the time he's 35, he will have spent 9 years of his life on the phone.
It's a decade. Ugh, it's gross.
And as you think of phone use, you're like 20 minutes here, 30 minutes,
Yeah, and then add it all up.
I had never thought that's almost a decade of your life like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, if I'm trying to teach kids, college kids, if you can have power over your phone, you're going to crush the competition.
Yeah.
They're all addicted to their phone.
Of course. I mean, I guess we could safely say that the F in flow is focus, right? So we should come up with some kind of acronym for flow. So focus on what it is you want and what it is you want to accomplish, as opposed to sitting and wasting time on your phone or whatever it is.
With that, we're just building distraction machines.
Yeah.
When I went to this one conference, it was a bunch of neuroscientists, and they were talking about phone use and all that stuff. And they said, we're just building distraction machines. It's like these kids, they can't sit still and read for 30 minutes without being distracted, without thinking about their phone. We have this thing called attention fragmentation, and you'll put your phone away and try to focus on something, but you're still thinking about your phone a little bit. It's still there.
Yeah.
And they said that, a medium to high phone user could touch their phone up to 600 times in one day.
I believe it.
How are you ever going to get anything done?
Seriously.
Touching,
Yeah, you have to have the power over your own mind and your own thoughts to be able to say, okay, I have been on this enough. It's time. Mothers do that well. Get off your phone! Get off the iPads and get outside. And then we at night wind down and start scrolling, So we all do it, and we're all guilty.
Yeah, it's like, I think the thing that we can teach people is like, do you have a plan? And do you have a time limit? I have this little time. Now I use this when I'm trying to get stuff done, but it's a little timer.
Oh, cool.
And I'll say, okay, this task should take me 10 minutes. I'll set it for 10 minutes, and then I just turn everything off, and I try to focus and get that thing done.
Where'd you get the timer?
Amazon.
All right, I'm gonna get a timer just like that and link it so we can all have a timer. So
Yes, so we need to figure out how to make one that says Gritty Mamas on it.
seriously, or just but we can put a sticker on there, some translucent sticker. But before we end this, so I want to focus. So you're talking about we have to be comfortable in the struggle. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah. And you just said something that triggered a really a thought. It's like, okay, if we're being tossed to and fro, right? If that's because that's the way it is out there.
Yeah.
Like if we're so focused on our phone and other things, do we really own our mind,
Yeah.
or does somebody else own it?
Yeah.
The attention out there. I mean, they're trying to claw at your brain to get your attention.
Yeah. I mean,
things that are important to you.
yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of YouTube and Instagram and all of social media. And I love those social media platforms. It's how I make any kind of money whatsoever. But the whole point is to get someone on YouTube and to keep them there and to keep them staying longer and watching longer. And to like, I used to get on Instagram and as soon as I would I'd scroll, and as soon as I came to a post I had already seen, I'm like, okay, I'm caught up. There was this feeling of I've caught up. And now they don't even do that anymore. They don't look at they just keep feeding you new stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, where's my deadline? Because I needed that for my personality to be like, okay, I'm caught up. Everything's like checked off, which is so stupid. But now they don't even do that. And you just get more and more hooked until you like are in this subconscious where like last night I was watching ASMR and these Asian women eating octopus. I'm like, what am I doing? And then you watch another guy who is in the forest for a month and he builds a cave and digs and puts rocks and gets the clay and makes that into paint. And I'm watching him survive in a cave. I'm like, this is the biggest waste of time, but you get sucked in and it's all distraction.
Dude, here's something even worse. We're actually watching people watch somebody do something.
I know. It's like my kids watch other kids play.
I was just, so I try to always, it's like, okay, I'll try to post something for my social media and then I'll give myself 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'll set my timer. Because if I don't, 25 minutes is down the tube.
Yes.
And that's not helping me.
Yeah.
I saw something and I'm like, I'm actually watching a guy. His channel is watching another guy do something. And I'm like, how lazy can you be?
Yeah. You could be the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and I'm thinking, I mean, where does this take us? You know, and if you look at kids, I had one athlete that this kind of hit me hard. She was struggling with it. She was struggling with getting off her phone and comparison and all that stuff. And she goes, I know when I use it too much, I feel numb.
Yeah.
And that's not a good feeling.
That makes total sense. So for all of you watching out there, this is going to be a continuing process of learning mental toughness, which will apply to all aspects of our lives. So we're going to say F in flow is for focus and to be comfortable in the struggle. A friend of mine says getting in the suck box, like get comfortable sucking with something, you know. And then what was the other thing you were mentioning about Gritty Mamas? I can't remember now. But any last, what was it? It's coming to me. The power phrase. That's what it was. So that's something that we can like challenge all of you to come up with is your own power phrase.
I've collected a whole bunch of them.
Oh, awesome.
So we'll post them.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's something we could just start posting power phrases.
Power phrases.
Or moms. It's like, oh, I connect with that one.
Yeah, and you can even like have a power phrase for the week or something, or for the month, and just focus on.
Harvard did a big study on what's called the power stance.
Yeah.
It actually changes your physiology, which is, but you just stand there like Superman or Superwoman with your hands on your hips for 2 minutes.
And you just feel unstoppable.
You start feeling unstoppable. So I'll have athletes do that and stare at a mirror and stare at themselves. And it's crazy. They're like, I feel like I'm I'm unstoppable. But as a mom, when you guys look in the mirror, you're picking yourselves apart.
Oh, yeah.
You're not looking at your strengths.
Totally.
So
Never.
if you look in the mirror as in seeing a beautifully strong, vibrant woman.
Yeah. Forget about it. Yeah. We're just seeing the flaws on our face, the sagginess, the wrinkles, and then you rip yourself to shreds.
It's funny how guys, I'm like, yeah, that's me. It's like, whatever, I'm never.
Yeah.
It was funny, my wife, we were talking the other day and for somehow she got on this, and I can't remember what we were talking about, but she started naming good qualities of me. We got home from church, and maybe it was a lesson or something like that. And she's like, this and this and this. And then about 9 or 10th one, she goes, "You're cute." It was like down 9 or 10.
Yeah, was your actual looks, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I know where I'm standing, on the Tom Selleck scale. I know where I'm at.
The Tom Selleck scale.
But you look at it, it's like, how great would it be to look in the mirror and start picking out really great things about you?
Yeah.
Instead of all what we typically do.
Right. Just ripping ourselves apart. Okay, well, stay tuned for more of this. Let's pick our power phrase, focus on what we want to accomplish, get comfortable in the struggle, and pick some nice things about yourself when you look in the mirror.
Yeah,
right?
Look at some, and we started a long time ago, just with the showers.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get uncomfortable. It's not terribly hard, but it is.
Yeah, it sucks.
The more you can get in the struggle, that's the first part of flow. And that, if you struggle long enough, if you can stay focused long enough, that's what drops you in to release is the other, and then there's flow, and then there's recovery. Those are the 4 different. And so the more you can go through this cycle, you'll find out your life seems better, happier.
Yeah.
Flow is such a great feeling.
Yeah.
We've had days where it's like, I just crushed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you feel like that feeling like that as a mom, makes you a better mom. Okay, well, this is going to go up. I'm going to put your information at the bottom of this podcast in the review description section. We'll get the timer up on Amazon linked, and stay tuned for our next flow session.
And I'm excited because it's awesome. And I just see, I've had over 2,000 athletes, and I just know when you start training like this, your life gets better.
Yeah.
Period. And most people don't ever think of it that way.
Yeah, that's for dang sure. Okay, thanks, Jeff, and we will be back next week.
I hope to have this place painted and pictures up.
Maybe I'll have a professional studio someday. It won't be my closet. You just wait.
Yeah, you will. You will.
We'll see.
So it's like, remember what we were talking before you started recording. It's like, that's what grit looks like right there, girl.
That's right. Starting from the bottom.
Starting in a closet.
That's right. Even now, my battery's on low on my computer, and my Zoom session's about to end. So we will end this and be back with the next episode.
Make it a great day.
Okay. See ya.